Hello boys and girls, and welcome to lesson 3 from chapter 2, percents and decimals, which we've been working on class already. Please go to page 109 so that we can get started. Here we have a survey about taking place in Martin Middle School, where students were asked to tell us about their favorite subject. Okay, I'm glad they didn't include PE because the results would be drastically skewed. But let's see, we have math, 28% of students like math. Art, 16%. Science, 21%. English, 30%. Social studies, 15%. And other subjects, 7%. This other subject could include music or history. Looks like math is winning with 28%. Okay, write a fraction with a denominator of 100 to represent the percent of each subject. So we're going to write all of these out of 100. They are already out of 100. Percent means out of 100. So math is going to be 28%. Science will be 21%. Art is 16%. Social studies, as you can see right there, is 15%. English is 13%. And other is 7%. You can see that, boys and girls. Okay, for this key answer, what I'd like you to do is to match them. So write arrows or lines bringing down the stats, okay? Matching them. You see that? Okay, this will be part of your key answer. So when I check your work, I should see these lines being drawn, okay? And this one will cross. Just like that. Okay, for number 2, we're being asked to write each fraction above as a decimal. So for math, we know that it's 28 hundredth. It's 28 in the 100th place. They're all in the 100th place. So let's write those in here as a decimal in the 100th. So 28 will be in the 100th. 28 hundredth is 0.28. Science, 21 hundredth, it's 21 written in the 100th place at 0.21. 16 hundredth is written as 0.16. 15 hundredth is written in the 100th place and the decimal. English, 13 hundredth. That's 0.13. 13 in the 100th place. Don't forget your number placement, please. And the last one, 700th. 7 in the 100th place. Often people make the mistake of writing 0.7. But don't forget, this is the 10th place, not the 100th. We have to go one further to the 100th place. Because it's 7 out of 100. So 7 in the 100th place. I hope this was easy for you, boys and girls. In order to convert fractions to decimal, we really have to know our place values. So please review your place values. As you see here, we're working with these place values, okay? We're working with the 10th, the 100th, the thousandths, and the 10,000ths. Normally, I like to work up to the 100th. We round from the thousandths to the 100th, okay? But please make sure that you know these place values really well. Let's continue the practice of changing or converting percent as a decimal, okay? And we'll practice with these 3 down here. If you'd like, you can review over this in your books and just read through it so that you get an idea of how the book is teaching you how to do it. Or we could just jump right ahead to how I normally do it, okay? Remember that you just have to know the place value, okay? The place value, for example, 32% is 32 over 100, right? 6% is 6 over 100, and 93% is 93 over 100. So we really say this number as 32 hundredth. Well, you're saying the decimal when you're saying 32 in the 100th place. 6 hundredth. 6 in the 100th place. And 93 hundredth. 93 in the 100th place. 93 hundredth. There you go. Please make sure that next to your answer you put a star, as so. There, and there. On page 111, we're going to now convert the decimal to a percent. Now, these are all written in the hundredth. So we're just going to go backwards. Okay, well, this was written in the tenth, but you know, if we wanted to write it in the hundredth and make it out of 100th, it would be a 0 right there. Correct? Let me zoom in and we can work a little bit better like that. Okay? So, let's see. Let's put them all over 100 so that we can change from a decimal to a percent. So we can simply just say that it's 47 out of 100. 47 hundredth, right? As a fraction. 47 hundredth, 47%. 47 out of 100. You see that? 47%. 73 hundredth is 73%. 73 out of 100. And 0.5%. I mean, it's not 5%. No, I don't want you to get that confused. 0.5, this is 5 in the 10th place. If we wanted to make it in the 100th place, we would have to add a 0. Now it's in the 100th place. Okay? So it's really 50 hundredth. 50 in the 100th place, which is 50%. Please don't get those confused. Okay, for this one, we will use arrow as our key answers. Okay, so just put an arrow right next to each one of your answers. For our last example, we have our skill put into a word problem. Now, don't forget, boys and girls, word problems are very, very important because this is what our tests consist of. They're all word problems. Okay, the United States produces more corn than any other country, producing 0.4. So 0.4, it's 4 in the 10th place, so it's 4/10, right? And to turn that into 100, I need to add another 0 to each one. So I add a 0 there, and I add a 0 there, and now we have 40 out of 100, which is 40%, right? Okay, I hope you have that clear. So producing 0.4 or 4/10 of the total corn crops. Write 4/10 as a percent. There you have it. Okay, you should know how to make this transition very easily. We went from decimal to fraction to a percent, and they did the same here. Okay, this is the section where we begin our homework. I will do some of the guided practice with you so that we can get a good solid start. I'll do all the odd ones with you. Okay, so we have 27%, 2700, and they wanted to turn it into a decimal. So it's 27 hundredth. When we read this number, we say 27 hundredth. So it's 27 in the 100th place. In the 100th. Don't forget your place value. Okay, so now I'm going to skip 2, but please do 2 on your own. I'm going to jump right to 3. You can pause the video so you can do 2. But I'm going to jump right to 3. 4%. 4 hundredth. 4 hundredth. 4 in the 100th place. There you go. Okay. Go ahead and do 4 on your own. Pause the video now and do it. Okay. I'm going to do 5. Remember, now we're being asked to change the decimal to a percent. Okay. This is 3/10, so 3 over 10, and then just add the 0 so that you have it over 100 and write the number. Write what you have out of 100. Okay. I'll show you here how I do it with the 82. Okay. Right here in number 5. Alright, so I have 82 hundredth, right? 82 hundredth, or I don't even have to write it over 100. I can just simply say it's 82 in the 100th place. It's 82%. Okay, go ahead and do 6, and then at the very bottom right here, I can do 7 as well with you because it's an odd number. About 0.7 of the human body is water. What percent is equivalent to 0.7? 0.7, and they want a percent. I would just simply say that this is 7/10. We know that, right? It's 7/10. And then we have to add a 0 to make it out of 100. And we add a 0 to the top, whatever you do to the top to the bottom. And that number turns into, as you can see right there, it's 70. It's 70 out of 100, 70%. Okay? What is the relationship between percents and decimal, they're both part of a whole. Okay, and they're all part of 100. 100%, they're all part of a whole. For homework, I want you to do the even ones on this side and all of the independent practice, okay, including the word problems on page 113, and only the top two on page 114, 14 and 15, okay, on page 114. We will do all the hot problems together in class, okay, including these down here. So this will be done in class. You do the independent practice on your own. Okay, boys and girls, I will see you in class.